Happy full moon, you heard? Happy full moon, gang. All right. Hope everybody is in great spirits. Okay. Now, I want to jump into these influences. Got my notes. The full moon is peaking in about 3 hours. I'm making this at 7 p.m., guys. All right. Wanted to get this up earlier. But, it's always nice to get these energies out as early as possible. But understand, it's a full moon, guys. So these influences, we've been picking up on them coming into the week, as I was talking about on the energy breakdown, which we do every week on Sundays, on Mondays. And then these energies linger as well. So we got the full moon in Pisces, all right. We know the full moon is always opposite the sun. All right. The full moon is always opposite the sun. This relationship is vital between the sun and the moon, because this at this period we get to have a reflection of things that we've been gaining an awareness and starting to take action on, with the sun transiting whatever sign it's transiting. In this case, it's transiting Virgo. All right, so now that we got some of these Virgo energies up under our wing, you know the full moon Virgo, the full moon in Pisces transits our Pisces house, and it helps to fill out any gunk in that area, helps us to filter these things out, helps us to navigate things that Pisces has influence in this house. All right. And what has been accumulated from Pisces being in this house in your life. All right. So as very, very, very important to understand. Uh another thing about this Another thing about, once again, full moon periods help to revitalize the journey the sun is ready in. All right. That's why that masculine energy need the feminine energy. The feminine energy need the masculine energy. See how it works together? See how it works together? All right. So the moon helps to get that opposite axis illuminated so we could see anything that's in there and see how it could be, counterproductive. I mean, how it can be productive and not counterproductive towards the house the sun is in. Okay. Because we know our ops are our ops. This is why I like doing series like Signs Through the Houses series and things like that, to help us understand, what we're experiencing in one house, but how this house makes alignments to other houses, and this, that, and the third. All right. Now, all right, so that's what we got going on there, guys. Now, the full moon is not really making that much activity, besides it being opposite to the sun. And we know we got Mercury retrograde in Virgo, even though it's not directly opposite right now to the sun. However, the full moon is conjunct Saturn. It is conjunct Saturn. Why is this significant? Because the moon is an activator. Okay. What do I mean when I say an activator? The moon gives everything more of a subconscious emotional feel. The full moon is currently fully illuminated. So whatever house it's in, that house is fully illuminated, aka anything that there is to feel in that house, you can feel it vividly, in the most sensitive manner. All right. Especially when the moon is full. Okay. So with the full moon conjunct Saturn, we've been going through what we've been experiencing with Saturn and Pisces throughout the majority of the year. So now that we have a full moon by that energy, the full moon activates all the experiences and things Saturn has been accumulating in Pisces thus far. Okay, we've felt increments of that while the sun was touching, I mean, while the moon was touching Saturn every time we had the moon in Pisces, since Saturn been in Pisces. All right. But now the moon is full. So everything that comes down to Saturn principles, what we need to be concentrated on building, structuring, stabilizing, and taking our time with in our Pisces house, on top of what we should be breaking down, restricting, applying some discipline in, all these type of things. The moon is activating all of that, guys. All right. So I just want to go through brief influences that I got for you guys with how your Pisces Virgo axis is lit up. Okay, and I have brief notes for your rulership, so everybody could get a little spiritual update, energetic update on what you've been picking up on in general outside of full moon influences. All right, guys. So full moon peaks today at 9:36 Eastern, right, opposite the sun in Virgo, conjunct Saturn. Excuse me. Okay. Um, and one. other significant alignment we can say is going on right now is Mercury retrograde opposing Neptune and Pisces. So a lot of us are having creative aspirations in general. It could be collaborative efforts, but things dealing with creativity, these things are being replayed. These things are, you know, trying to make their awareness be seen. Well, excuse me, not the sun, is Mercury. So yeah, in general, these things are being replayed and making themselves be re-seen in our life. We have to be able to see these opportunities. Okay. Retrograde periods are great for revising things, but when it comes into bringing things from the past back into the present, all right, we have to be able to know that they're coming back for a reason. That's always an indicator that something had potential or something is in your calling to be doing something. All right. We got Mercury retrograde, Venus is wrapping up her retrograde. Okay. So these are just things we want to keep in mind around this time. So let's get right into it. We're going to start with Pisces and work our way down, to Aries, Taurus. We're going to go in that motion. All right, guys. Pisces, sun, and risings. Okay. The full moon is transiting the first house. Okay. We know you got the sun in Virgo in the seventh house. So there may be a personal outlook you're holding on to that's not supporting the reality of a relationship or partnership. Okay, got that full moon transit in our first house. You're filling everything out when it comes to personal aspirations where you feel unfulfilled or fulfilled that in your personal life. Okay, and when it comes into the sun in Virgo in your seventh house, you're doing your construction when it comes into relationship activity, but that house is dealing with reality. So right now, maybe you may be in a sense where maybe a certain business partnership, a certain connection you're developing with somebody, an intimate relationship where you're imposing your personal potential, your personal imagination or outlook on the connection. And this period is helping you to get centered and see if your personal outlook is really matching the reality of what you're trying to build and work on in your partnership life, all right, in your relationship life. Okay. Example, believing someone believes in something as much as you do. Okay. Virgo season is about constructing your relationship life. The full moon is helping you to break out any personal illusions you may be in, what we just described. All right. Also, this may be a week where a personal talent or experience, Jupiter, finds a way to be supported in a collaborative effort. Right. Yeah. So that's the once again, seventh house, you're still dealing with a lot of connections this season, right? You're still dealing with, uh, Mercury retrograde, replaying things with partnerships in this area. So the full moon this week, this period could be a time where either you're downloading it or it's coming to you externally, a person, place, or thing that's, activating some type of creative collaborative effort to come back into the works. Okay. And I didn't write this down, but you also need to be able to place boundaries, Pisces, suns and risings on intimate relationships coming back to play in the seventh house. This is a time where your boundaries can be, your ability to set boundaries can be challenged. Okay. And Pisces, suns, risings, I love y'all. I love y'all to death. But y'all are a sign that can get gassed up in love, gassed up in your emotion, but gassed up in the potential of something. Try to keep some type of spiritual anchor around this time when you're interacting with people that may have played on these emotions of yours. Okay, like a little fiddle, may have played on your emotions of yours in the past, and being able to acknowledge that now, give them their closure, maybe get express what you got to express in these retrograde times or whatnot, but don't allow yourself to think too much and to let them play those type of games on your subconscious. Stay spiritually strong. Stay strong, Pisces, sun, Pisces, right? Okay. uh your ruler is squaring Venus. All right. Your ruler is squaring Venus. Be careful of overindulgence or doing anything extreme for finances or in love matters. All right. Full moon time, things can be extreme. Okay. So just make sure, just in this time in general, Jupiter deals with expansion energy, Venus deals with what we love, and these energies are at friction. So you might be a little extreme trying to experience something you like or love right now, and you might want to be more steady, especially when you feel in the energy like you're forcing something. All right. Um, However, Jupiter is harmonizing with the Sun and Mercury in a trine. Huge realizations to make about the experiences you already have, possible opportunities reappearing because of Mercury retrograde, revolving around stability in the workplace. So all these energies is, between Earth, right? Your ruler is transiting Taurus. All right. And then we got the Sun and Mercury in Virgo. I was speaking about the Sun and Mercury harmonizing with Jupiter and how that was going to bring a lot of fruitful opportunities during Virgo season. So this may be a time where these things are bubbling for you. So we have to learn also how to be in a receive energy during full moon time. All right. Learning how to be in a receive energy. Okay. Especially with all these retrogrades, a lot of us can make a lot of realizations, not just reflecting and revising, but letting answers come to us. uh Sometimes we got to learn when to be proactive. All right. Now, yep. So that's what I got going on for my Pisces sun rising. Okay, let's get that first seventh house axis somewhat balanced. Let's get more centered and understand where we placing boundaries at, and also understand where the fulfillment. What energy and attention, what needs energy and attention in this first house, to feel more fulfilled, because that's what helps you get the balance in the first and seventh house. When you don't understand what needs to be fulfilled in your personal life, then that's what creates imbalance from partnerships to come in and take the time that you need to be given to yourself anyways. All right. So these are the things that you want to allow yourself to soak in on and observe around this time, Pisces suns, Pisces rise. Aries suns, Aries risings. All right. Aries suns, Aries risings. We got the full moon transiting the 12th house. Okay, and we know the sun is in that six. All right. So and another thing about Pisces, another back to Pisces, another thing about Pisces, you know, Saturn been all up in that first house, Pisces sun. Saturn been all up in that first house. So this phase is dedicated towards you developing all the sense of stability and structure you need in your personal life when it comes into creative aspirations, personal stability in general, your personal life. Anything that's been shaky, this is a time to get some stability, get right, make sacrifices to work them two jobs, make sacrifices to take care of debts, make sacrifices to heal from something that was catastrophic in the seventh house. Saturn's trying to get you right personally. It's coming from somebody with Saturn in the first. So uh this is important to understand, to make sure that you're not spending a lot of this time or too much time trying to build up something in yourself. All right. And that allows you to see how to be proactive, where to be proactive while the sun is transiting your seventh house for the rest of Virgo season. All right. So Aries suns, Aries risings, full moon transit in the 12th. A lot of daydreaming and potential realizations about hidden or buried aspirations and how they could potentially be worked into your 12th house. All right. I mean, worked into your sixth house. Excuse me, worked into your sixth house. I wrote 12th house here, but I know I meant to write worked into your sixth house, into your regimen, into your routine, something that you're starting to structure and build upon. Now, is the full moon's transiting your 12th, so we know we got to influence of shadow work here. It's transiting the subconscious house, and the moon could get a lot of work done when it's transiting the subconscious house. When it comes into your subconscious, your internal, how you feel about things, realizing why you feel about why you feel the way you feel about certain things, getting to the root of things, dealing with trauma. The moon does it in each water house, fourth, eighth, and 12th. All right. This house could lean a little bit more towards, creative aspirations and securities with creative aspirations, and uh, things dealing with doubts that you have with things in life, things you want to reel into reality. Like it could be revolving around these type of things. All right. Shadow work, filtering out what affects your sixth house from a subconscious state and attachment. So this is also a period where, with the full moon transit in your 12th house, because the 12th house can develop a lot of attachments, because it's dealing with our imagination, it's dealing with things stemming from our insecurities. All the subconscious houses, water energy deals with attachments in general, because water deals with connection. So when you got the full moon transiting the 12th house, this is a period where you could realize any type of attachment that you're dealing with in life, how that is truly a source of what's hold creating some type of restriction or hesitancy or whatnot, stalling the process with you being able to, have some type of six house regiment routine with something. Okay. Could be some type of habit that you have, and you're realizing that this is really the real reason why I can't get this type of six house energy established in my life. All right. And it may be something you already know, but it may just be more impactful around this time. Okay. So that we got that going on. It's hard to work with the sun in the sixth when you're not internally stable. Remember, this period for you is heavily revolving around your wellness. All right. The full moon in the 12th helps to get to the root of attachments or things that negatively influence a healthier lifestyle in general, like we just said. A feeling of lostness can also be a start to reestablishing a new successful regimen in life. All right, that's important to understand, Aries, because when the full moon gets in the 12th house, regardless of you feel like you're on the straight and narrow with something, you get to the root, you get to the part of the core of your subconscious in a way. So things that was, within you come up to the surface. So any sense of lostness or feeling like you don't know where to go or a lack of direction with something or in general, this is a time where you could give yourself grace to feel things out, go through that transit, allow yourself to, navigate the subconscious in general. And ultimately, you will catch a feel of where you can start placing your time. But a lot of the time, I like to say, guys, it's not all about what we're creating, it's about what we're taking out. Not what about we're adding in, what we're taking out. So you embracing a full moon through the 12th house transit, Aries, Suns, Aries risings, may even help you understand how it may have been, you know, counterproductive, or you were shooting yourself in the foot trying to add something into your sixth house when there was something that you had to revise or remove out of your 12th. There was something that you was attached to in general that you had to you know place some space in between. So these are things to help you navigate any sense of lostness or lack of direction. Okay, the 12th house can make you get lost to help you find yourself. All right. um Mars, the ruler, all right, your ruler. Mars is new in Libra, all right. Relationship activity is and will be high, all right. I still have influences to drop about Mars being in Libra. All right. So try to manage things dealing with high relationship activity. We know at times it could be a little frustrating. It could be very frustrating having to deal with a lot of relationship activity and communication and people at times. But there could be opportunities in it. It could be new advice, information in it. It could be potential. Your rule is transiting a sign that's dealing with love and relationships. So it could even, if you're in a mating state, you want to embrace that sense of social activity that you may deal with around this time, not just in an intimate way, romantic way, but also for anything that you may be building around this time, or things that you may be picking up on in your 12th house, or things you want to work on in your sixth house. All right. Um, Mars is also harmonizing with Pluto. All right. These are your energies, Mars, Pluto. All right. So many of you are, uh, yep. So, with Mars trine Pluto, that's already indicating you're in a state of transformation right now. You're always dealing with transformation, Aries, all right? But right now, uh, a lot of this transformation has a lot to do with, coming to terms with changes that might have already transpired in your relationships, coming to terms with potential relationship transformations and changes, ahead of the season in general. But it's a trine. So it's showing that you have the ability to initiate, needed transformation and see where it's at right now. Cause Mars is in Libra and is trining around the edge of Capricorn. Uh yeah, right there at the tip of like Capricorn, Aquarius cusp, where it's been in for Lord knows how long. But yeah, so it could be a lot of reconstruction on basically how your relationship activity affects how you develop stability. It could be a certain environment that you're around. Aquarius has a lot to do with like more of our outside environment, associate type energy, and Capricorn is stability energy in general. So right now you're seeing how some changes might need to be made, how you may need to take initiative transforming certain things with your relationships to improve how you develop stability. All right. And the changes that need to be made, you will see these things. It's a full moon time. Many of you are in a transformative state right now amongst business relationships and relationships in general. Seeing how to forget. See, I be just writing notes for no reason, just to not read them and say them before whatever. Mars is also opposing Neptune. All right. Take time to dream on your intentions and not act. Reflect on how your passions affect your well-being right now, Aries Sun's Rising. I think you guys can actually be in a state where you could just allow yourself to get more centered and not have to be so proactive and take action on things right now. All right, especially with your full moon transiting transiting a subconscious space. Okay, and you might be in the midst of figuring out new things on how to operate your sixth house. So this is a good period to give yourself some grace to sit back and reflect on some of these things. All right. It's my Aries Suns, Aries risings, Taurus Suns, Taurus risings. We got the full moon in the 11th house. All right, and we know the sun is transiting your fifth house right now. So first bullet I got here is realizing the spaces and opportunities you can create, throwing your creative expression into the world. So in general, you're in a highly creative space and you can create a lot of opportunities for yourself, understanding how you may have pockets and spaces of opportunity already dormant, already there for you in the 11th house based off of who you know and connections that you may have. All right. Um Detaching and outgrowing your social circle, networks, and communities. There may be expiration dates coming up with some of these things or new ways to sustain them. All right. So new ways, realizations about which social circles you need to detach yourself from. All right, the 11th house spaces, outside circles, social influences, and then new ways to possibly sustain, improve, help build upon the communities or groups that you're in, that you're still building towards a certain aspiration or common cause in some type of shape or form. All right. But it is a full moon time. Full moon times can bring a lot of expiration dates to things. Okay, so you want to keep an eye out for that. Many of you are realizing how much your spiritual development is as important as what you're doing to build your reality, right? Finding the balance between placing faith in what you're expressing to the world, working or building on, and learning how to flow, right? Instead of overwhelming yourself with the practical effort to things. Okay, so Taurus Sun risings, it may be a optimistic outlook you may have to have with what you're doing, besides just the practical aspect. The practical aspect of formatting things, structuring things, seeing how to keep it in motion, that's what you do. All right. But with anything we're trying to build and create, we're going to go through our ups and downs. These are the times, when you're not in the most, when you don't have the brightest outlook of what you're doing, even though you're committed to doing something, because y'all can commit. Okay, that is one thing y'all can do. Y'all, this is coming from y'all other Venus side. That's something I learned from y'all, how to really commit. A lot of Taurus, women I dealt with were challenging my ability to commit to some shit. But when we're looking at um when we're looking at them times that things may not be working the way you want it to work, these are the times that you may need to, activate some of that faith and optimism in what you're doing. And you may be, in the midst of something in these type of situations right now. All right. But overall, a full moon in 11th house, spiritually inclined house. So it's helping you to think outside the box with a lot of things, understand how the world is working, with how the world works, especially in relationships, in relations to something you may be building or crafting at the moment. All right. Now, uh, your ruler, okay, Venus, is wrapping up its retrograde. So take heed to what you've learned around this time. Uh, It's all the way pushed back to about 10 degrees. Leo, once it goes direct starting next week, is going to be somewhere around 9, 10 degrees. All right. So we still have a lot of more Leo energy, for Venus to cover. And this still influences you to remain in an expressive space about your values and continue to ride a creative wave, creative to ride a wave of birthing, new patterns amongst your values. You value something new in your relationship life, based off of what you've experienced or learned around this time, or you when it comes to how to deal with anything with self-worth and self-value. A great time to reestablish these things, and be expressive to all influences around you about these things. That's part of establishing a new value system, really wearing that as an example. All right. um but Venus is also squaring Jupiter. So a lot of learning when it comes to what you value and have to give off based off experience in general. Maybe a lot of realizations about these things, like, yo, I should be valuing the sense of knowledge or wisdom or skill that I have to give off, to uh give off to whoever, to the world in general, to the community, to here, to this industry, blah blah blah. And this may be a time where you learn to, see how to connect that some more. or just come to one with understanding that in general. And it's also could be an indicator to live a little when it comes to creatively experimenting, testing the waters with your creative abilities. Um, or learning to live a little less when it comes to overindulgence. All right. So these are all things we want to keep in mind around this time for my Taurus Suns, Taurus rising. Now, Gemini Suns, Gemini risings. All right. We got the full moon transiting the 10th house. All right. We got the full moon transiting the 10th house. And Virgo, that Virgo Sun and Mercury retrograde is in the fourth. Uh just want to make sure. Full moon. Another thing, Taurus. I keep missing the Saturn influence. Taurus, that full moon is activating Saturn's presence in that 11th house. So I can only imagine the type of new opportunities may have been developed this year with Saturn transiting the 11th house, with you realizing who you could connect with, network with, where something you're creating or trying to birth is the right place for it to be accepted or established at. Realizing why certain groups, communities, partnerships in your life need to be, detached from, separated in some type of shape or form. You've already been Saturn gets busy in that 11th house. So the moon is activating these things. So if there's been something you've been stubborn from paying attention to when it comes into your social influence, these things can get extreme around this time if you're not acknowledging how somebody or some group's presence or some type of social presence is influencing something that's not productive in your life or not in alignment for you. All right. Now, Gemini suns and risings. Uh Full moon transiting the 10th house, realizing how your social status can be seen, transformed, or built upon when it comes to what you're experienced with and how and how you're seen in the world. You got Pisces in that 10th house. All right. So when it comes into your Gemini risings, Gemini suns, by in general, you guys can come off real creative in the world. Real creative. And y'all can seem like y'all are very flexible and connected to every goddamn thing and nothing at all when it comes to having a Pisces midheaven. So around this time, just full moon transiting there, it's activating a lot of Saturn's presence here of seeing how you can use these things to build this reputation, to build, understand that creative attribute that you're seen for has more of a presence and power to it than you realize. The full moon is activating a lot of these things for you and ultimately helping you understand how to navigate, any 10th house, career path like situation or issue around this time in general, right? Whatever you're feeling deep on about building or breaking down isn't anything to doubt because the moon is just activating what Saturn has been trying to do all year. You're just feeling it more this period, right? When it comes into what needs construction work in your 10th house. Uh and it's Saturn here, man. So it's Saturn transiting your 10th house. This phase could be a powerful hell of a shifting time in your life. All right, Gemini suns, Gemini risings. Could be a lot that's established here when it comes to how you gain stability, how you're able to establish a new business brand or navigate things within your career path in general, right? Learning to understand how to construct this house more efficiently. So, the full moon is going to help you become more in tune with these things. And you want to stay aligned with these realizations because it's going to do wonders the more Saturn is transiting here. So work home relationship balance in general is a focus, right? That 10th house axis. You're getting centered at home this season. Okay, sun in the fourth house. Separate how you're seen in the home and the outside world. Now, this is very important. Like this could be when I say separate how you're seen in the world from the home. You guys could be in a situation like this. Could be like this could be like somebody that's like a popping influencer on the internet and they got like kids to feed at home and they have a whole family. When they come in the house, like they acting like egotistical or big in their head because they somebody out in the world. It's like, yo, you just dad in the house, like, and dad is somebody, but why you acting like this celebrity in the house? So you have to be careful how you may bring things that's going on in the 10th house too much into your fourth house and overwhelming your close environment, your loved ones that stand in the third. Learn to have that balance even in that way. And that could be hard to see sometimes because you could just be geeked up and gassed or excited about something you have going on in the 10th house, but being able to bridge that, uh, is important to understand. Even and your 10th house aspirations, everything you do in the 10th house is supposed to be accepted with your loved ones to stand in third. But I know y'all get the grasp of what I'm trying to say with that, especially from more of an ego perspective. Um, do, 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 do. Now, Mercury retrograde is very active. Okay, it's dealing with a lot of activity, so it's trining Jupiter. So you guys are having more of a harmonious flow, connecting towards how to analyze, dreams and aspirations. Let me read what I got written down before I just Mercury is very active right now. It's harmonizing in a trine with Jupiter and Uranus. So new downloads and realizations on how to take your power with responsibilities and priorities in general, and how you're navigating career in general, and your knowledge bringing back and your knowledge in general can bring back old opportunities. All right, but you got to see your value in it the way others do. So you guys can manifest situations right now where something you already have knowledge or experience about. uh Somebody else wants to use it or incorporate it into something, and this could help a lot of what you navigating in your 10th house, bring opportunities, 10th house. But you got to see your value in what they in that tool you have as much as they do. All right. So if you're in any situation like that, don't allow yourself to doubt that. All right. You're attracting these situations for a reason. And uh Mercury is also opposite Neptune. So take time analyzing the dream and your dreams and aspirations and your subconscious in general. Great time to not be super proactive. Allow yourself, your mind already drive you crazy at times, Gemini. So, it's a great time to allow yourself to sit back and reflect on some of these things. Advice coming from the home environment and people close to home is really good advice to listen to right now. So that's what we got going on from my gems and sons. Yeah, from my gems and sons. Run that track back. Cancer. Cancer. All right, Cancer. We got the full moon in the ninth house and the sun transit in the third house. All right. So first bullet I got here is the veil can feel very thin right now. All right. If you guys don't know what that phrase means, it means that filter between reality and the spiritual and the subconscious, it could feel very thin. It could feel so easy to penetrate. So when I say that, people are picking up on your wisdom and education, and you also are realizing where it can be utilized at. This is also a time where you can really feel out what you feel like you're supposed to be called to towards exploring. Ninth house deals with a lot of exploring, experience, adventure type energy. So it may be something, it may not make the most sense, but it does bring a sense of fulfillment, and you do see the opportunities in exploring it. So it doesn't hurt to explore it if it's not so much of something that's, distracting what's what you may already have in motion. All right. So be able to weigh out your aspirations and responsibilities and things you already have in motion, because that ninth house, a full moon in the ninth house, it could just light up a lot of things that you feel unfulfilled from a experience point of view. So you just want to jump out into doing this, that, and the third when you probably have certain things you're connected to, certain things you're in motion, but it helps you to weigh these things out. All right, especially because you may be in things that involve other people. The opposite house where your sun is transit right now, where the sun is transit right now, is your third house. All right. But once again, people are picking up on your wisdom and education, and also realizing where, and you also realizing where it could be utilized at. So not just you, others as well. All right. Want to be all ears and eyes to that. Ideologies and beliefs that may need to be broken down in order for you to be free, right? So it may be certain things that you're restricting yourself from experiencing or adventuring on or exploring because of an ideology or belief. These things are being broken down in general this year with Saturn transit in the ninth house. So the full moon can activate that type of energy in general this year to help you bring understandings, to certain things. So that's why I said help you to be free. All right. Things and restrictions that may have been developed through your third house. Some of these restrictions maybe have been developed through your third house, and you're going to continue to see it from Virgo season. You realize maybe why you didn't explore something is because everybody in your neighborhood think like this, do things like that, and that has created your outlook on adventuring something, on applying yourself to learn something, experience something. So, these type of realizations. You're revising and building new ways to deal with your third house this season. So seeing how your beliefs and surroundings clash is key. So that's kind of reiterating, you know, the battle between that third and the ninth house, depending on the things you know, learned as an adolescent and been influenced by in your surroundings, how has these things affect your ability to go seek your own knowledge about something or create your own, spiritual development and personal philosophies about things in life? All right. So, with uh the sun transiting the third house, all right, and the full moon in the ninth, you're emotionally picking up on the fulfillment or unfulfillment, and then the sun transit in the third house to see where the root of some of that may have even stemmed from. So it's key to pick up on things with close relationships around this time, especially with loved ones too, family members and all of that. All right. Even maybe a space where you want to explore something and you have a close friend that you do things a lot with and they're not feeling it. You can't let that ultimately deter you from something that you're feeling spiritually called to do. All right. Your ruler is conjunct Saturn. All right. Your ruler is conjunct Saturn, so the need to feel stable is important right now. Anything you need to do to get stable right now, Cancer, Sun, Rising, that shit is motherfucking important. Attachments need to be acknowledged in order. That's the start. That's the start for you to start getting stable. You deal with connection. So whenever we're dealing about Cancer placements, getting to a stable place, the first thing is acknowledging what am I connected to right now. All right. New realizations about what can improve stability and how the third house tendencies may be a factor. Is your third house social influences or things that you learned growing up in life? The full moon in the third house could bring up some shit from the childhood, like a mother is up. All right. That's how they be. That's how they used to. That's how they be. Uh, Old school rap songs. When it's the clean version, instead of just putting another word in there, that's how it be sounding like that. Like a mother is yeah. It's be sounding like a nigga rewinded some shit during the curse sound. But that's what's going on though. That's what's going on with my Cancer Sun risings. All right. It may be something, a way of thinking that was, you know, projected or programmed upon you from who knows in your third house surroundings, and you're realizing how that has created a ceiling in some type of shape or form from the things you can build and stabilize in your life in general, and you may be going through your breakthroughs and understanding these things around this time. All right. Hey. All right. I know sometimes y'all can see me dancing back here, but when I watch the live stream, I realize that sometimes y'all can't even hear the music in the background. And that's cool because I don't be trying to get flagged, but I probably look crazy just dancing to my own. All right. And last note, I got one more last note. Beware of blow up moments trying to work or build with others or fight ideologies and beliefs, especially with close friends, because um we know your ruler is the moon and the moon is conjunct Saturn. So trying to force building or structuring anything with somebody, which is also a form of connection, um, that could create blow up moments for you right now. So all right, Cancer Sun Rising, just chillax. Now, my Leo Sun's risings, full moon in the eighth. All right, full moon in the eighth house. And we know we got that Virgo energy up in the second house with the Sun and Mercury retrograde. So, first of all, a lot of y'all may be in a state of transformation and making shifts or sacrifices to improve stability. Embrace the things and know that it will be worth it. Okay. So just having a full moon in the eighth house, whether you're in a state of transformation, trying to initiate a transformation, the sun in the second house is already helping you to see the things that you value within yourself. So the full moon in the eighth house, this period is helping you to see what changes need to be made internally, subconsciously, with the resources you have in order to establish, that new sense of a value system in your second house. All right. So just embrace the transformations in general and know that even if you can't see the light in it, sometimes you're not supposed to see the light all the time with eighth house transit. You can't see the light in it, but you understand, you spiritually feel that is a positive thing, a positive change needed for positive transformation. You got to ride that wave. All right. Understanding how attachments get in the way of new values you're trying to use or establish. So once again, eighth house attachments. This house is known as the desires. This house is known to build attachments. So Leo Sun's risings, if it's an attachment that serious, it's going to be highlighted around this time, and that will be an indication of something that is affecting your ability to be stable and secure. Okay, and this attachment desire could be a person, place, or thing. It could be whatever, but when you attach to some shit. Now, the full moon can activate some support of other people resources, especially with your ruler in a relationship sign, Mars in Libra, or no, excuse me, Venus, uh, why'd I write that there? especially with your ruler in a relationship. Try not to get let me see, let me see, let me see. Okay, so yeah, in general, the full moon can activate some support of other people resources around this time. You know, the eighth house is dealing with the resources of others, so that's something to keep an eye out for. But all right, especially with your ruler in a relationship, try not to get too easily. The sun is in Virgo right now, so I think that was a note for another sign, and I must have got mixed up copying and pasting different things. But yeah, it is key for you to know eh, resources for others. Don't, and I know you know Leo placements. Y'all like to give. Y'all are some givers. Y'all give life to a lot of things. So don't be too shaky to receive help around this time or too prideful. Okay, this season is about building and reconstructing new values and stability in your life. So don't try to hit home runs right now, right? You're in a state of transformation. Embrace any gunk in your subconscious that you have to filter out to help the process. All right. Now your ruler, okay? See something real quick, y'all. Yep, I see what I did wrong. I think these notes were for Scorpio. Those that note that I didn't know where it came from. All right. So let's see the activity of ruler. Oh, it's just the sun, but besides obviously hitting a full moon, it's trining the sun is trining Jupiter. All right. So this is a time, Leo, where the state of transformation you're in, right? The reason you're initiating these transformations or the reason why you can hold on to this embracing this transformation is a lot because of you're seeing how something that you already have experience with or wisdom with could be supported. It's like something that you have a skill with. Maybe you're embracing a certain transformation, for stability, that I had wrote. You're embracing a certain change for stability, whether it's picking up a new job or you know, going to work in this other state or something for a pay raise for a certain amount of time or whatnot, so you can have a budget to do this, that, and the third. You're seeing how that transformation can support something that you have a skill with or experience with. So that's why you want to be able to bear making these sacrifices or enduring any changes in this around this time. All right. This season is about building and reconstructing new values and stability in your life. That's the note I just read. So don't try to hit no home runs, right? Uh, all right. So that's what we got going on for my Leo suns and risings. Big changes. You guys are in the midst of big changes right now. All right. Now, and then obviously with your sun, with the ruler, the sun itself opposing, slightly opposing Saturn and opposing, the moon in Pisces. Um, it's important for you to understand since you're in a state of transformation. It's key for you to understand how you're expressing yourself to others right now and what you're expressing what you're expressing to others in general, right? As things are changing or transforming, you don't want people projecting a certain energy. You don't feel like you got to keep up with a certain sense of appearance or an image to others while you're going through your changes. It's the time to help you become a little bit more, not saying you guys are fake, but just be transparent and more embrace being seen in more of your raw general essence, you know. So that's what we got going on for my Leo suns and risings. Virgo suns risings, Virgo suns risings. All right. Once again, happy birthday to all my Virgo suns in the building. All right. Now, Virgo, how are you being too open, giving, or supportive to a detriment? Are your efforts recognized or acknowledged? Question. Beware of extreme reactions to any of these realizations around this time. Snapping out of relationship illusions is a theme for you guys right now. So any relationships, harsh realizations about things in relationships, or how your energy isn't really being reciprocated or connected in the way you thought it was. Be careful any extreme and blow up moments or reactions towards these things, but there's potential to realize these things, all right? And it's just a key thing to keep in mind. It'll help you even understand how to value something you have. It may be situations you wasn't valued and appreciated, or your energy wasn't reciprocated in the past, and you're realizing you're in an environment, partnership, relationship, group environment where it is. So this is a great time to realize that as well. All right, it's your solar return season. Your personal development is in your face. So any attachments or energies from the seventh house or the external in general that don't favor you will be highlighted. All right. So everything dealing with personal development is in the air for you, is in your favor, but things that are your ops, things that are giving resistance to those things, creating obstacles, they're the seventh house is going to be a filter for a lot of those things. All right. And that's what the full moon is doing. What from the external world are you attached to that are getting in the way of this, path to development, journey of development? Um, you can sit back and let answers come to you right now, relationship wise. Don't have to be so proactive. Your Mercury's retrograde right now, your ruler's retrograde. So you are in a state where you can really sit back and receive right now. All right. Especially with the full moon in the seventh house. The full moon is gonna bring the seventh house to your first house. It's gonna pull that motherfucker if there's anything that's significant that needs to be highlighted there. All right. It's great to make sure you're really listening to what others gotta say too. Y'all are good listeners though. So I didn't have to tell y'all that. But is the potential of what you're seeing or building in the seventh house worth what you're compromising in the first? If you are compromising anything in your first house for a partnership, business partnership, or for a romantic partnership or whatnot, is the time to weigh that out, before things become too imbalanced. Um, and remember, Saturn's in your seventh house. So the full moon is only activating the things that you should have been placing restrictions, or you should have been structuring in your partnership life in general. So all type of relationships, business partnerships, connections that you have, the ones that need to be refined, that those will find universe will find experiences to highlight that. Those that you need to separate from, universe will find experiences to highlight that. All right. Um your ruler is still retrograde. That's why you need to let answers come to you. Be open to some good old constructive criticism. You already know you thinking a million miles per minute, but you can actually try to realize new things instead of trying to initiate new ideas into the world in some type of shape or form. Once again, be 2 days on time with everything with solar return events and your schedule in general. Once again, your rule's gonna be retrograde for the majority of Virgo season. So, I know y'all guys, y'all like to plan like a motherfucker, but might just need to be a triple amount of planning with anything with those things and anything that you're building and structuring, right? Just like everybody, it kind of has to be in that energy, but that's your ruler though. All right. Things you say today in your relationships can end up being something someone holds on to forever, even though you said it out of temporary emotion. So you're in that type of energy. That's kind of reflecting back, to the energy between your first and seventh house axis. So you could release a lot, from something you was holding in about a relationship energy, but you got to be conscious about how you express things, because it could just be something that somebody really holds on to for longer than you thought it was, when that shit might have just been the temporary emotion, how you expressed it. All right, or what you express, which is really more important. Libra sun. All right, that's what we got going for my Virgos. But Virgo sons, happy birthday, all right? Happy birthday. I hope y'all are enjoying yourselves, all right? Keep being an example of how we need to get stabilized moving into that fall season. We need y'all. Please help us. All right. Libra sun, Libra risings, full moon transiting the sixth house. All right. We know that sun energy is in the 12th. The sixth house has been getting in order all year long. So this full moon is activating what the major focus has been, all along. New realizations and downloads towards, what needs to be worked on, detached, stabilized in your sixth house, what needs more time and attention to build, what potential project anything that you're working on could really see its potential the more that you're able to stabilize it and give it the time it needs, right? But because it's Saturn, you guys may have been in a state this year, you're losing jobs, things are expiring in the sixth house, different shifts taking place in the sixth house, even situations where you guys are losing opportunities, not being able to uphold the responsibility. So Saturn was trying to work some magic in the sixth house, getting you stabilized, but because you weren't being responsible with something that you know you were capable of doing, but you wasn't able to uphold the responsibility with something, you lost that, and you learning from that. All right, so Saturn can place you in them type of experiences. In the sixth house, right? Or seeing the opportunities to be made through working on something. Like I said, right? Seeing the potential of how something could really come into fruition by sustaining a certain sense of time and regiment around it. Of course, a great question to ask self around this time is, how does relationship activity affect um your well-being and regimen overall? Okay, it could feel a little overwhelmed or whatnot based off of what the attachments and connections you have dealing with people in the world, because your whole life is dealing with relationships. This season this season is about realizing what needs to be built on and worked on internally, and how it ultimately affects your everyday lifestyle. All right. That's attachments and buried aspirations and beliefs and insecurities, 12th house like energy. Mercury retrograde is picking up on all of that, trying to make sense of it. Okay. So, uh, Mercury up in that 12th house and everything, it's retrograde, so it's already in a state of revision. But when in the 12th house, it'd be hard sometimes, because the 12th house, it's all imagination and faith based and creative and whatnot. And Mercury's creative, but it's more so dealing with, it's more spiritual influences when Mercury is more technical. So you almost got to give yourself grace right now to revise things, dealing with past aspirations, this, that, and the third around this time. Libra suns, Libra rising, maybe some things that were buried, that you got to give Mercury some time to really pick up on that. Okay. But attachments in general, that the 12th house is a house where attachments are stored like a motherfucker. So let Mercury retrograde do its thing, navigating that. Okay. Realizing how certain things in your 12th house axis in general, um, because it didn't have enough. Oh, okay. So you're gonna be realizing how things in your sixth house or your 12th house in general hasn't seen its potential, based off of how one of the houses needed more of the other house. Okay. So, for example, it could be something that you're building in the sixth house, or the Libra Sun, Libra rising. You giving it all the regiment it needs, the time to build it, structure, this, that, and the third, but you're lacking more of the faith based aspect to it. Holding on to the optimism of it, being able to make sure that you keep faith in it when things didn't go your way, and not just drop it and try to jump into cardinal air and create an idea or ride another wave of another idea. No, sustain that. All right, sustain, holding on to the potential of something that you're building while you're in the midst of building it. So something may not have seen its potential because of that. You lost the faith aspect to what you were building, or vice versa. You are super basking in the faith aspect, the imagination or something, but never gave it the proper sixth house routine. So all of these things is what you realizing in general around this time. And I also wrote in parentheses, um, these Libra rising opposite realizations can be a constant theme in life. All right. But full moon and sun transits help to activate these realizations. All right. So something to keep in mind around this time, guys. Now, your ruler, once again, I'm saying once again because I'm repeating the ruler information for the most part for people that share rulers, signs that share rulers. Your ruler is wrapping up its retrograde. Take heed to what you've learned when it comes into all relationship, all the things that you're valuing in your life, your value system in general. Take heed to all the things that you've learned with these things. Um, is a lot of Leo energy left for Venus to cover, okay, because she's going to be pushed all the way back to 9-10 degrees when she goes direct. So remain expressive about your values and ride the creative surge that you're on. So with all the new things you realize when it comes into Venus energy, what you're valuing, how you go about valuing certain things, what's the root of why you value certain things, all of these things, how you treat the things that you have that you value. All of these things are things that you can create a new way of dealing with them as Venus goes direct in Leo, and remain an example of them by how you express them to others, right? Um, but Venus also squaring Jupiter. Okay, so a lot of a lot of experience, especially experience, relationship experience, or experience with things with how you didn't treat your values a certain way, or the right way, or when you're valuing negative things, you may manifest situations where you know, you're challenged to apply, Jupiter's dealing with that sense of application. So you're challenged to apply new morals and new ethics with how you go about valuing things in general right now, right? A lot of learning when it comes to what you value and what you have to give off based off experience. Indicators, uh right, indicators to live a little bit more when it comes to creatively experiencing, because we know Jupiter dealing with experiencing in general. That Venus in Leo was about, getting more in tune, you know, with valuing our creative expression or what we have to birth in general, our creative attributes in general. That's your ruler. So this should have been a time where a lot of things were flowing creatively, and you want to continue to ride that wave because, like I said, Venus still got a lot of energy to cover in Leo, being pushed back to early degrees. Okay, but because it's square in Jupiter is a time to revise how you can jump into these experiences, right? How you can jump into the journey of crafting these things in real time. All right, so that's what we got for my Libra suns, Libra risings. All right, Scorpio suns, Scorpio risings. Full moon transiting the fifth house. Okay, being challenged to conquer, defeat any insecurities with creative or self-expression, or for creative pursuits. Maybe something you're creatively pursuing, something you're trying to birth, and it may be a sense of having to overcome some type of insecurity or fear of dealing with the spotlight, being seen, or being the face of something around this time. So you're subconsciously processing these things, you know, while you guys may be in the midst of these type of situations. All right, realizations about how you've been suppressing fifth house activity. All right. How you've been suppressing creative attributes from being seen and connected to others. Also, with the combination of having an outlook on how to build it. All right. So, you know, yeah, that was big right there because Saturn's transiting you guys, fifth house. So it's like the full moon not only is activating how some of these creative influences and ideas have been suppressed, Scorpio sun risings, but the fact that Saturn's here is like these things are being suppressed while you also have an outlook on the blueprint on how to do it. Okay. So it's more so about really embracing, the light that comes with it and the transformations that are potentially going to be made through you doing new things and birthing new things. All right. A lot of y'all been learning, a lot of y'all been learning how to stabilize your creative expression or something you're birthing this year because Saturn's in the fifth house. All right. This period can bring major breakthroughs on how to tweak or connect it to others. Okay. How to change things, see things from a different perspective, what you're building from a creative aspect or what you're birthing. Do not sleep on who you know in your 11th house. There's a lot of what that is a lot of what this season is about for you, Virgo season. Beware of connections to be made, even if you haven't developed the product you eventually want to connect to the world. So, regardless of what you're working and building on, regardless of how polished you feel it is, this still is a space where you need to be communicative, relatable, let people know what you got going on, what you're working on. A lot could come out of that too. This season is replaying creative collabs and opportunities with others. Take time seeing how it fits into your schedule so you can potentially commit instead of feeling overwhelmed. All right. You may have a lot of things on your plate, but it may be some things, or maybe a lot of things that you're fueling up on with your Mars energy, but it still may be some opportunities replaying back into your life about certain situations to work creative collaborative efforts with others. So you want to make sure if you're going to participate that you're doing your best to manage you doing your best to manage what you already got that you're working on and stabilizing so you can make commitments in a comfortable way, knowing what's already set in place, with your schedule and routine and all the things you're giving time and energy to. All right. Now, Mars is new in Libra, so relationship activity is high. All right. So, once again, just dealing with a lot of individuals, but once again, Mars is trining Pluto. So, you are in a state where you are really encouraged and, called to initiate transformation in spaces that you feel called to do so for the betterment of yourself, spiritual and personal well being. All right. Um, and it just gives a real charge of energy and a real surge in passion, a lot of passion and motivation in general right now to shift things. So place it in the right areas, right? um Many of you are in a transformative state right now amongst business relationships and relationships in general. All right, you realize how they affect your ability to be stable. All right, and Mars is also opposing Neptune, so take time to dream on your intentions. Take time to reflect about how you feel going into things and the potential experiences. Things that you intend to do can create. Right, reflect on how your passions affect your well-being. That's what we got going on for my Scorpio suns risings. Sagittarius suns risings, full moon in the fourth house. All right. You got Virgo in the 10th with that sun and Mercury in there. All right. You've been getting to the core of what needs to be restructured in your subconscious and home environment. All right. Saturn, right? Saturn's been doing that in the fourth house, and Saturn's opposite here. Okay. So it could potentially bring distance or a sense of detachment from the home environment in general. This could be parents, loved ones. You go through some of these situations. Restrictions are placed with what you're close to, what you're on what you're close to. Um, but the things that you need to build upon to bring some more stability in your home environment and with your overall subconscious, Saturn been doing that all year, trying to lead you to do these things. So the full moon is just activating it. So when you really Sagittarius sun rising this whole week, the things that really was irking your soul and probably and was making you uncomfortable in your own environment in some type of shape or form, or you realize you let it in close to home and it's annoying this then third. The full moon making is gonna create a situation and really highlight that around this time. All right. So there's all types of breakthroughs to be made when the moon is transiting the home, and it's all in the intention to revitalize the heart and the home, regardless of how realizations are made. All right. Or at least, spark the start of the journey of revitalizing the subconscious and the home. It's the moon, guys. The moon is home in the fourth house. So when it's full, Sagittarius suns rising, y'all really not the ones to be fucked with right now. We know all the mutable signs, they're not the ones to be messed with right now. But that is important because you don't want to have extreme reactions, to things in the home environment. And it may take some extreme situations for you to realize things in the home environment. All right. So it's important to understand how you deal with that emotion. But that's why I put lastly, it could be the spark to starting the journey of how to heal something in the home or how to deal with something that was picked up in the home environment or that's in your subconscious that you ain't really deal with healing or filtering out. All right. If there's something that's private to you from a creative perspective or it's intimate, this may be a period where it's pulled on from your 10th house. This season is about realizing how you're seen in the world and how to potentially restructure and format your social status and career path. Virgo season. Someone close to home or someone close to home or something about your fourth house may filter that out this season. So the fourth house may be used as a filter, right? To show you what that is in the 10th house that you need to push out some more. You need to connect to the world some more. Is a talent, experience, ideology about something that's skill, expertise, whatever it may be. All right. Um, and it may be a loved one itself that's used as a vessel to help you realize these things. Whether you feel unfulfilled or stabilize that 10,000 aspiration or someone close to home. Okay, yeah, that's pretty much what I just said. All right. So you want to pay attention to what's going on in them close surroundings, right? There's a lot of fruitful things that can happen here, a lot of new downloads or realizations, how to bring some stability, also getting understanding how to build that balance between your work, family life as well. Um, Your ruler is squaring Venus. Be careful of overindulgence or doing anything extreme for finances or in love matters right now, Sagittarius, please. But Jupiter's also trining, harmonizing with the Sun and Mercury. So huge realizations to make about experiences you already experience, wisdom you already have, possible opportunities reappearing because Mercury retrograde revolving around stability in the workplace. So these energies all revolving around Earth for you right now in a trine with Jupiter harmonizing with the Sun and Mercury retrograde. It could be a lot of things. It could be a lot of opportunities that people are just bringing back into your life that are already fruitful and things you could just jump in and bring your experience or wisdom that you already have to support it and benefit off of it, be a part of something. All right. So, you want to be all eyes towards these things, all eyes, all third eyes, ears, and open. All right. Around this time. So that's my Sagittarius sun's rising. Capricorn, Capricorn, sun rising. I said a Capricorn, sun rising. Full moon transiting the third. All right. And we know we got Mercury retrograde and the sun in the ninth. You're realizing how certain beliefs may have been projected on you in the third house, right? In your surroundings, and how the beliefs and aspirations you and your surroundings have may clash in general. All right. So understanding how things you may want to explore and experience in the ninth house may have been seen as something you can't do, or or you place resistance on these things based off of ideologies and how you grew up in your third house in some type of shape or form. You starting to see all the things and influences in your third house, or the things that's in your surroundings right now, that you feel like you're learning how to break these things down. The things that's in your people, places, things that's in your environment right now, Capricorn sunrises, these things do not have to be restrictions towards things you want to experience in your ninth house. All right, was a person, place, or thing. Maybe it definitely may be something that you have to work through. It don't have to be something that blocks your ability to explore something. And I think that's what a lot of you guys are realizing around this time. Uh Realizing the uh reliability of those you're close to, and what you've been supposed to be restructuring in your close surroundings. Sorry if the way I'm reading this is all jittery, guys, because I was is the way I wrote the notes. I'm just, when I'm writing notes, I'm not writing them like all super grammatically perfect. But realizing how reliable people are that you're close to. Keep an eye out on that Capricorn sun rising, and especially things being magnified on how you're supposed to be structuring things in your close surroundings in general, because we know Saturn been here, for the majority of the year. Taking the time to build these things to open up more ninth house energy, right? Shifting things, separating things, putting things in their place in your third house, close relationships, habits and behaviors you made familiar and consistent in your third house, or what not influences that in your third house, that uh people, places, and things that influence bad habits or whatnot in your third house. This is Saturn's been trying to put a restriction on all of that to help you be in a more concentrated, stable space, building stability. So the full moon is activating these things. All right, building discernment on how you can build, on who you can build with, and how you can build with people, and who to separate from. New realizations on how to create, on how creative attributes or a third house trait, something that you're familiar with, a piece of knowledge you already knew, something that you're familiar with, you've been knew it already. All right, new realization how creative attributes and these third house traits can open up new experiences. All right, or used to teach and enlighten others in general. Once again, something you already know or simply familiar with. You may even realize these are things you need to use to help restructure things in your life yourself. So it may be certain ideologies and things you were taught, or knowledge you've been had, that not only are you realizing how you could use it to connect to others and build opportunities in the world in some type of shape or form, but it might also be some ideologies you need to get back to help get yourself more centered around this time. All right. This season is about refining the knowledge and wisdom you already have to be applied or reapplied into your lifestyle, Virgo in the night. Trusting that a certain regimen or practice will open you opportunities in life, regardless if you could see in your head how the result is going to crystallize, having trust and faith in the process itself. All right. The full moon in the third helps to break down and build boundaries where it's needed in your surroundings. Many of y'all may be in transition, just having Saturn transiting in the third house in general. So whether you've been structuring how you want to transition into a new third house, you building a lot in your third house, kind of building things in the home environment, to stand in the third, getting more interactive with your neighborhood in some type of shape or form, moving to all these type of things, new roommates, new tenants, these type of things. So you're already dealing with that in general. All right. So the full moon is just helping you to activate, how to make decisions about what you're building, structuring, what you're tearing down. All right. Now the ruler is conjunct the full moon in Pisces, okay, which is Saturn. So take time to navigate any sense of lostness you've been feeling throughout the year, or lack of direction in any way with anything. All right. Give yourself grace to embrace some of these things around this time. Capricorn sun risings, you don't really have moon energy like that. So the fact that moon is by your ruler is going to help you get in touch with a lot of things and make realizations about how what you're building affects your well-being. And I'm sure I said that in the notes. Um, Breakthroughs can develop around this time when it comes to how what you're building in life affects your well-being overall. This how I know I'm gonna be a good actor, because I'm gonna be able to just memorize my lines and jump into that motherfucker. But anyway, especially coming to terms with any decisions changing, um, what we know, especially coming into terms with any decision or changes that you might have made with loved ones or close friends this year. So you might have, Saturn in the third. It may have already. Let me read the whole note before I start side talking. All right. Breakthroughs can develop around this time when it comes to how what you're building in life affects your well being overall, especially coming to terms with any decisions and changes that you might have made with loved ones or close friends this year. All right. Detachment with siblings or these relationships are likely. Focus on ridding attachments in general and filling your subconscious out. So you may already be in a state where it may be a sense of separation from a close friend, from a close group of friends, from a sibling, from your home environment. You may be already dealing with that shit. All right. So this is a time to at least try to, find clarity, understanding with the situation, possibly give yourself grace and, other people grace from a distance if you have to for the time being. Um, but I could definitely see a lot of solutions and clarity being developed if you guys are in that type of space in general. All right. And lastly, my Aquarius sons, my Aquarius sons and risings, full moon in the second. Got Virgo, Sun, and Mercury in the eighth. Your values have been broken down to be built back up this year. All right. Saturn in that second. It's okay. I wrote this with a laughing emoji. It's okay to not be in the build. It's okay to not be in the built back up process yet. All right. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay, Aquarius, Sunrise. All right. I'm laughing at myself right now. This is my placement. And I believe this is what the full moon is here to help you guys with. All right. Making certain realizations of how your outlook, idea, fantasy about certain things didn't match the reality. All right. Whether it's something you are trying to connect to or create, or even family related, right? The full moon in the second house is dealing with our creative attributes, things we're trying to build, structure. It also has a tie to family traditions. When we talk about values, values can be developed through family traditions. So it has a tie to that. And some of these things may have had to be broken down in some type of shape or form. You may have developed more of a realistic, practical outlook on some of these things throughout the year. Okay, so that is the whole process of having your value system broken down to be built back up. Okay, so try not to feel too overwhelmed in the process, but no, it's all for spiritual development, right? Helping you understand how to navigate this matrix a bit better. So, okay, but highlighted, big bold on whether it's something you're trying to connect or create or family related. All right, allow yourself to digest the reality of these situations. Now the full moon in the second can bring new opportunities for monetary gains. However, it can also highlight what's blocking your ability to develop more stability. All right, back to what you're valuing and how you've been working on it during Saturn's transit here and working through resistance and obstacles as well. So uh Saturn is transiting this house, helping you understand what to place time into, which one of your second house attributes to place time into to really help you, mold how you deal with stability and security in your life. What things you need to build up when it comes into what you value in yourself, and what you need to restrict when it comes into what you've been valuing. So, uh, the full moon is activating this. So not only can it present opportunities for the things that you've been building or the tools that you have from building in this house, it could create opportunities, you know, right now with the full moon transit here, especially being an exaltation type of transit, it can create opportunities for this, right? For your ability to build, to become a part of something or be used elsewhere. But it can also highlight how, you know, uh what how you valuing negative things or you valuing things that's not in alignment for you has been the distraction or the resistance towards these type of opportunities or gaining stability and security in general. All right, so take heed. Finding stability with debts and finances in general is a focus right now. A lot of activity in the money houses, the second eighth house axis. All right, the season is about reconstructing how you build upon your passions and acknowledging what's in the shadow house, right? Your desires, spiritual baggage, passions in general. All right, the full moon helps you to see how the imagination energy of Pisces may have led to valuing the wrong things. Okay. So it's like you got all these Virgo and the sun in the eighth house. This is a season for you to analyze and get into your shallow work. Mercury identifying and magnifying what's up in your eighth house, what's baggage here, with the trauma, things from past relationships, this, that, and the third. Heavy desires here, desires for that. There, it's like, yeah, this is too dark and heavy of a desire. We don't need to experience that. So Mercury is seeing all of these things right now for Aquarius sun rising, but at the same time, you're the sun throughout Virgo season is also helping you to see I mean this sorry, the full moon in the second house is helping you to understand how with Pisces, because Pisces in the second house is very imaginative, right? Pisces itself very imaginative. So when you got in the second house, when it comes into things dealing with practicality, stability, and security, you could be a little dreamy with it. And because Pisces so dreamy, you could end up valuing all type of shit that's real floaty in the world. Like you could develop, find yourself Pisces dealing with its feel for ecstasy and pleasure and experiencing. When you put that in the house, then with your value system, now you could end up somebody that just want to value feeling that vibration. So that could lead into these bad habits and these other type of desires in the eighth house. And that's what you're realizing right now. Like, damn, I shouldn't have even been valuing this in the first place. And now I have all these desires or spiritual baggage in some type of shape or form. This is what you're realizing right now, Aquarius sun rising. All right. So the full moon, anything the full moon will pick up and highlight what that root of a desire or a bad habit or attachment is in some type of shape or form. All right. The full moon helps you to see how the imagination energy of Pisces may have led to valuing the wrong things. All right. And your ruler is conjunct the full moon, right? Take the time to navigate any sense of lostness you've been feeling throughout the year, a lack of any direction in any way with anything. Breakthroughs can develop around this time when it comes to what you're building, um, and how what you're building affects your well-being overall. Aquarius sun risings, especially coming to terms with any decision or changes. Let me see the in the second house. Yeah, so Saturn in the second house, you guys also want to use this period to come to grips and come to terms with things that you may have. It may be something you're trying to do to gain stability and security, and something you was working on or opportunity you had. It got restricted, it got cut off. Some type of resistance towards it. This is the time to be at ease with it. Understand this may be a part of the whole journey, or it was a sense of re-navigation in the first place. So the full moon really helps you to be at one with that. And once again, Aquarius sun rising, you know, uh, uh, your Saturn rules. So Saturn energy can take time needs to take time here and there to process moon energy, which is your subconscious, and not just being, you know, too caught up in what's going on in reality. All right, guys. So happy full moon. Love all of you guys. All right. Hope you guys all in great spirits. Don't let you know other people project on you around this time. The full moon in Pisces. People's subconscious all over the place, and people feeling unfulfilled because they haven't experienced, explored certain things in their life, and they don't know how to work on it, and they start projecting on others that feel motivated and aspire to change and shift things in your life. So, make sure you're placing boundaries in the right areas in your lives, guys, and let's continue to have a prosperous Virgo season. Happy full moon, guys. Happy birthday to all my Virgos.